What if becoming who you're supposed to be isn't only about what you add? What if it's also about what you're willing to remove? There's a story about Michelangelo that inspired me, and one of the most famous sculptures in the world that made me think about growth a little differently. Before Michelangelo created David, the statue of David, it was just a massive block of marble, and it wasn't even a perfect block of marble. Another sculptor had already started working on it and abandoned it. Years later, though, Michelangelo was tasked with the project. He was given the opportunity to finish it. So this huge piece of marble sat there for decades, already worked on, imperfect, unfinished, until 26-year-old Michelangelo finally accepted the job. And what I find interesting isn't just what he eventually created, it's how he created it. He simply removed piece by piece what wasn't David, chipped away until eventually what remained became one of the most recognizable sculptures in history. He visually seen David before it was. Stories like these inspired me. And that one made me think about how much of becoming who we're supposed to be is actually about removing what we're not. Because we're constantly trying to add stuff. We never think about removing. Like we add another book, another skill, another accomplishment, just trying to add all these things to become something that we're seeking. But maybe sometimes the question shouldn't be what else do I need to what else do I need, but rather maybe the question is what do I need to let go? What do I need to remove? What have I added that isn't me? Because over time we pick up things. Expectation, fear, comparison, other people's definition of success, all of these things, right? To need to be liked, to need to know exactly what's going to happen, the need to improve ourselves. And after carrying some of those things long enough, we can start calling them our personality, which it really isn't. It's things that we just added on to us unnecessarily. I'm just like I'm just the overthinker, but is that actually who you are? Or did uncertainty teach you that you needed to control everything? Right? You don't take risks. Is that really who you are? Or does something that happened teach you that failure wasn't safe? Right? How much of what we call us did we actually choose? And how much did we pick up along the way? Growth requires subtraction too. Now, I don't believe everything we need is already inside of us and all we have to do is uncover it. Some things I absolutely do think we need to build. And over time, only life can teach us that. Right? Discipline has to be built. Skills have to be developed. Knowledge has to be acquired. Relationships have to be built. Character has to be developed over time due to setbacks and things like that. But so growth isn't only subtraction and it isn't only addition. Growth requires construction and demolition, right? Adding to and removing. And I think we have to do that. We're supposed to do that along the way. Some things need to be built and some things need to go. The hard part is figuring out which is which, though. And that's what I think a lot of us struggle with. I know I have. But awareness, and maybe that's where self-awareness becomes the chisel. Before I can remove something, I have to recognize that I'm carrying it first. Why do I believe this? Where did this behavior come from? Does this still serve me? Or am I still just dragging it along? Would I choose this belief today if nobody had ever taught it to me? So I said we got to be careful what we let in. Right? These are uncomfortable questions because sometimes you discover something you've been calling your personality for 20 years was actually something you developed just to survive a particular situation in our lives. And maybe it protected you then, but doesn't automatically mean you need to carry it forever. That was just for a particular season in your life, that particular thing that you built, right? You don't need to be perfect material. There's something else about Michelangelo's story that got me. that the marble wasn't perfect when he started it. It had already been worked on. It had limitations. It had history. And Michelangelo still started. I think sometimes we believe we need to become this perfectly healed, perfectly confident, perfectly prepared version of ourselves before we can start doing meaningful things. And I come to realize that's untrue. We need to start with what we have. I don't believe that anymore, right? Maybe I don't have to wait until everything about me is fixed and perfect. I start working with what I have. I can still be figuring things out and start. I can still have doubts and start. I can still have things I'm working on and still start. I think those things for us be excuses when we don't have enough. Simply excuses for why we don't start doing what we want to do and set on the path we want to set out on, right? The material doesn't have to be perfect for the work to begin.